Just finished Freedom from Racism training.
I recently had the opportunity to take the Freedom from Racism course, which was beautifully taught by Marshall Fields.
I have to say, of all the continuing education type classes I've had, this was one of the best produced, most thorough, and most interesting. I have to say, I ended up learning a tremendous amount.
And the way that Marshall brings it is, it's friendly, it's informative, it's everything that creates like an awesome common ground so that you feel safe, safe in learning.
And he does it in such a way that it is not confrontational in the sense of being emotionally charged. However, he does unapologetically talk about the origins of racism and the results of racism.
I think you've done a great job communicating something that's very difficult to communicate, and you did it in a very honest and integral way.
And also just this research in general has really changed the game for a lot of the people that are here in our group and our community. And it also helps have that communication for people who are uncomfortable having that conversation or sparking that conversation.
I love every piece of all 5 modules. I love the information that I was given. And I really love the tests because I think the tests are so important just to check back and make sure you got the information. This is dynamic.
So not only is he just like presenting information, he has done the research. He has the facts, he has the history, and all of us have learned a lot.
And it deals with racism, which a lot of times is the true elephant in the room, if you will. But he does it in such a way that he bases it all in history and in fact. He has data that shows out some of the systemic nature of racism over time.
We can learn all this information, we can read all these books, we can, there's so many resources out there, but having somebody like Marshall introduce, what he knows and what he's learned.
I would recommend this to anyone from any church group up to corporate America who is struggling with communicating about racism. I suggest they take this class.
The content inside of them is incredible. It's so needed. People need to be having these conversations.
And so it's awesome for us to, revert back to, and whenever we want to have those conversations or when we choose to have those conversations with our family members, our friends, our communities, because at the end of the day, change is going to happen in our communities, right?
And to top it off, he gives us the tools that we need to be able to communicate with others around the topic of racism or about the topic of racism, and be able to communicate in such a manner that we will come to some understanding and be able to work together better in the future.
Spoke to my heart about how even today in our country, you can have poor black folk and poor white folk and poor brown folk, but there's a disconnect. And I always wonder if you just get together.
So I recommend that you take this Freedom from Racism course.
I think everybody would benefit from watching this.
I am grateful is the best word I guess I can use, and that I was able to take that training. And I hope and pray that many more people will take advantage of this.
Thank you, Marshall. Thank you for this.
Thank you so much, Marshall, for your work and on social justice, on DEI, because this is truly going to revolutionize and change how we think about systemic racism.